Alright guys, welcome to the third installment. This is going to be my first day in boot camp. This is what the video is going to be about. If you haven't watched my other videos, please look back at them. It's definitely, you have to watch the first couple ones to understand this one. But yeah, and also, if you are to go and watch the first video, or if you already have, I do have a disclaimer that I have made a mistake. I forgot to mention a big part. Alright, so in the first video I was supposed to put this. This is basically what I was supposed to go and say was that you will become a recruit there at the recruiting office right when your parents drive you there. You're gonna get there, or shoot, no, it's not then. It's gonna be, oh shoot. Oh yeah, okay, so basically what happens is that once you drive to the recruiting office, then they drive you to the HQ, alright, the recruiting HQ, which is like 30 minutes away from there, from the recruiting office, and that's where you and everybody else is gonna go and enlist a second time, because you're gonna enlist as a poolee, but then the people who weren't poolies or whatever it was, they're now gonna enlist there, and you're gonna enlist with them. And that is actually a really scary moment. There was a, oh geez, they have you put your heads down, they have you like say like, hey, like if you lied at all with any of your MEPS paperwork. MEPS is a whole process of medical evaluations. If you lied during that time, now's your time to stand up. And our recruiters were telling us, like, do not stand up. Whatever you do when they say stand up, do not stand up. So this entire time they're just kind of interrogating all of us in a group setting, just being like, if you lied, you'll be persecuted with the NJP, and you're gonna go to jail and all this stuff. And we had like 50 of us sitting in there. It was at least it felt like it was super crammed. And yeah, so that's basically what will happen there. They're gonna enlist you a second time, and it's gonna be a pretty crazy time. So just make sure don't stand up when they tell you to. If you lied about anything or any, like, this is your time to not be whatever, like, don't stand up, okay? Anyway, on to the third video, alright? This one, if you guys didn't watch the second video, or if it's been, I think it's been a day or two. This one, it starts while we're sitting down at the airport waiting for the buses to pick us up. So we're just sitting there, we just ate dinner, and the buses came, alright? We didn't hear them or anything. But the Marine, who was in charge of all of us, like 60 of us in there, he has us all stand up. And he's like, hey, everybody stand up. And we all stood up like super fast. And, he's not a drill instructor, but he's a Marine, and, he's got that kind of authority. So we stood up fast. And he told us to all file down in a single line to the glass doors. So we all hurried to the glass doors, and then we ran to the darkness. That was the middle of the night, all right, and saw these white buses right outside the doors. There's like 2 of them, and then he told us all to run in them. So we all ran in there, and they had these red lights. Okay, so remember, it's pitch black, and the only light there is the moonlight. I would suppose. I don't really remember that much, but I would imagine there's a moonlight. So like really, it's really almost total darkness. There's this moonlight and these red lights that are in the very back of the buses, I guess, to display the exits or whatever. And that was I was sitting in the back of the bus too, because I was like one of the first guys who ran in there. And I remembered when I saw those red lights, I was like, I'm gonna remember this for the rest of my life. I am freaked out. I saw the red lights the entire ride to boot camp. I saw the red lights just glaring off the glass windows, but the metal that holds them all together, the red light was just like, it was scary. It looked like I was going to hell. I'm not kidding. It was freaky, man. It looked like I was freaking about to become a demon. Like all these red lights shining on all this stuff, and it was just pitch black. And I have no idea where I'm going. So the reason I had no idea where to go is where I was going. Was because he had us all sit down and put our heads down between our legs and said, don't put your heads up for anything. We're like, oh shit. So they're trying to, like, this is what interrogators do, right? They cloak your head so you have no idea where you are, and they take you down. They drive you down to wherever you want to, wherever they want you to be, and they disorient you. So they'll drive around. I'm pretty sure they did that with us as well, because they were driving around for like 30 minutes. I'm pretty sure it wasn't that much of a ride. or no, I mean, it felt like 2 hours. I'm not kidding. It might have been 2 hours, but I mean, I'm guessing with my elevated heart rate, I would assume it was about 30 minutes to an hour. So we had our heads between our legs, like he told us. But then, since I was in the back, like people were whispering, like they were whispering to each other and talking, and we were starting to wonder, like, okay, I wonder if this is how they're gonna separate us into each platoon. Are they gonna go in, because you know, we all know we're gonna be in the same company because a company picks up every week. But platoons is what, there's like 6 of them, of 90 recruits in each company, and we have no idea how to get in each platoon. Like we didn't know which platoon we were going to be in. So we had guys in the back, and we were like, okay, I wonder, like, okay, can I sit next to my friend? I want to be able to go and be in the same platoon with him, like all this stuff, and we were whispering, kind of panicking, like, I don't want to be stuck without my friend for 3 months, you know, because a lot of them enlisted together. A lot of them, some of them are brothers. No shit, like identical twins. We had that, 2 of them. Well, obviously 2 of them, but we had 4 of them, two. Whatever. You guys get it. Yeah. So I ended up switching seats with somebody because I felt bad for him. But yeah, because there was no Marine in them. So while the bus started driving down the road or whatever it was. And in the middle of it, like I ended up switching seats with one of the guys because there wasn't a Marine in there with us. He ended up going with the other bus. But about 20 minutes into the ride, everything was like eerie. It was like it was weird. Okay, there's the red lights shining on everything. So while I'm looking down, there's a red light to my peripheral vision. There's everything is silent. All we can hear is just the gas of the bus. It was kind of freaky. So I ended up looking up. I turned to the left. I tried to see if anybody was there because I was looking at the I was next to the window. I wasn't looking out yet, but I saw people peeking through the windows. Like some of them were just outright just looking through the window. They were not going to listen to that guy. So I knew that in order to get through boot camp, you had to listen to every order. So that's why I was like the only person who was not looking through my legs at that time. But I ended up looking through the window now. And right when I started looking at the window, about 5 minutes into it, I was just kind of like, it's just kind of darkness. I'm trying to get an idea of where we are. There's just a bunch of woods. And then there was a clearing. I was like, what? Like, I want to, are we almost there? I start freaking out inside, right? And then I saw a guard post right before we crossed the bridge to the island. And I was like freaked out that they, like, okay, one thing that was, it was definitely an overreaction, but I was scared that they saw my eyes. Like when we passed by that guard post, just to make sure nobody's getting onto the island that's not supposed to be there, I was freaked out that they had seen my eyes because we ended up not just crossing, but we had gone stop, let them put up the thing, whatever. So I was scared that they saw my eyes, and I was scared that they're gonna come on the bus and be like, who do I see or whatever, I was just, I was a scared little boy, right? That's how you have to be in boot camp, right? It's good to be cautious. It's good to be cautious, all right? Listen to every direction. But anyway, I remember when we crossed the bridge, it was another like 5-10 minutes until we got to where the yellow footprints are. Which, if you don't know, that's where everything goes down. That's where you become you make a commitment to get through boot camp. Every Marine steps on the yellow footprints. Like we all stepped on the footprints of Marines who, like, probably thousands of Marines who had fallen. Like, it's like no joke. Now I remember seeing the yellow curb as we turned to the street, where we would go to the yellow footprints because it's on a street. And yeah, I remember the yellow curb. I was like, oh no, it's happening, man, it's happening. And people were like, oh man, I think we're here, I'm here, just kind of whispering, whatever. And then the bus stopped, and the door opened. I was like, oh, we were all like freaking out, like, like, you can imagine us just like, oh god, like, it's actually happening. My greatest dream is becoming my worst nightmare, like, oh man, now I have to go through this, what I signed up for. And it felt like 5 minutes, but again, it must have been like 15 seconds before he ran into the bus. The drill instructor, I'm sure you've seen videos of it, and he's just like, everyone look up at me right now. We all look up at him, and he's like, what did I tell you? You're gonna step off this bus, and you're gonna run to the yellow footprints. He has this repeat, aye, aye, sir, and say yes, sir, like a bunch of times. And then he's like, all right, follow me. And then he runs out the bus, and then he's just like telling us to like move and stuff, and he's waving his arms and stuff, making us run. So we all run off the bus. You know, again, you guys, if you haven't seen a video of it, look at a video. A lot of the stuff I'm describing right here is you can see in a video. I'm almost positive. Just make sure it's Paris Island. If you're on the East Coast, or what is the West Coast? Camp Pendleton, Hollywood Marines. You know, never know that stuff. Yeah. So we all ran to the footprints, and I was on the very left, near the back. I don't know what exact order in the footprints I was, but I was on the very left, I remember. And we were standing there waiting for the columns to fill up, and yeah, we were just standing there. And then I remember thinking in my mind, right? I thought boot camp was gonna look like a bunch of cabins in the middle of the woods. That's literally how unprepared I was to what it was like. If you guys didn't know, there's streets, there's like not cars going through it all the time, it's just drill instructors if anything, but it's streets, there's buildings, obviously there's like the areas where we do training, and that's like the biggest portion, but a giant portion of this, like as far as that I can see, is just giant structures where you where your platoons are sleeping in, your decks are. The freaking, like, we got the battalion HQs, like, they're just a lot of brick buildings, alright? There's a lot of them. Yeah, I remember, I was thinking that, and that's how unprepared I was. Like, I wish I had watched some videos and just taken in what boot camp would look like, so it wouldn't be such of a shock to the system when I went there, because I was just like, I was imagining just to be in the middle of the woods, like band camp. I don't know if any of you were banders like me, but band camp was just a bunch of cabins in literally the middle of the woods, and that's what I was expecting, but it wasn't like that at all. So make sure to look at videos, see what it's like, you know, have me describe it to you. Gotcha, guys. Yeah, so while we're standing there, they had two of us. They were like, all right, I want two of you to run over to the giant doors that were to our right, that was entering the building that we would get started with this whole process. All right. Now this building, I don't know what it was. I think it was the battalion HQ, headquarters. I'm almost positive. I mean, that's where the gunny was. We had some pretty high level guys up there, so high-ranking officers too. Like no shit. So yeah, over to the right there was these two giant doors leading to the battalion HQ or whatever it was, and they had these huge handles on them, and you know, you couldn't miss them. So we saw that, and you know, there's street lights and whatever, so that's why we can see the stuff that's happening, and we had the lights of the buses. Now they had two guys run up to them. We all got in a column behind the two doors. I think they made a little speech that was just like, after you walk through these doors, like, you know, you're making a commitment and all this stuff. And they had both of them open at the same time, and they had us all run into it, and sit down on these chairs. All right, so there was these man, how do I say this? They were like steel chairs, but it was a giant column, and they were all connected, and it wasn't like framey chairs. It was more like, it was like giant, like there was a giant wall to our right made of steel, and there was like 10 of them in the columns of 6. I don't know if I explained that well, but I mean, I'm sure you can watch a video. It's kind of, I mean, this is what I have in my mind. Maybe they aren't steel at all. This is what I remember it being, guys. And yeah, so I sat down there. I was on the right side, the very right side, and then I made room for somebody. I remember I ended up going to a different row, so I was second from the right side of these columns, but you know, that's besides the point. And while we were sitting there, they had us sit down there, and yeah, once we sat down, they were yelling and stuff. They were making sure we all responded at the same time and said the right aye sir or yes sir. And then they passed down these blue bags. They had us all pass down these blue bags that we were going to keep our IDs and just really important stuff, especially the financial stuff. Once we got that stuff, about a couple weeks later, so they had us put in that blue bag. I forget what they had. They had a name for it. It was like a something blue bag, but tiny blue bag. And then they had these markers down as well. So made sure all of us had a marker. You know, some guys were too scared to say that they didn't have a marker, so they yelled at them, and you know, it was one of those things. So we all had markers, and they said put your name on it, and I put recruit or like RCT Weather or Corey Weatherholt, and they're like just don't put the first name, and I was like oh shit, you know, like thinking inside like oh no, so I crossed out the Corey part, and I just put my last name. I'm sure you guys have, whatever. I said my last name. Gives. So yeah, that happened, and yeah, and I kind of panicked inside when I screwed up because I didn't want to screw anything up, but I ended up screwing something up. So anyway, guys, see, this video is going on 16 minutes, so I'm gonna stop it here. This is my first take on this video, so I think I'm happy with it. We'll see. Now, again, sorry about that intro to this where I had forgotten about something, but I thought it's better late than never, right? Now, if you guys enjoyed this, make sure to comment down below what you'd like to hear. I've got one more video after this, which is going to be the continuation of this day. And this one, that next video is probably going to take a bit for me to write down a draft of it and make sure that I give you all the right information because, you know, obviously I missed something. So it might take a day or two until I feel confident that I gave you all the right information about it. So, anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one.